Welcome back to another writing video. My name is Josie and we're gonna do a writing weekend. I have other things that I have to do this weekend other than writing, but I do want to get a decent chunk done. So today is Friday and I did literally like 30 minutes today, and I don't know if I'm gonna get much more done because Jonah has a gig tonight, so we're going to that pretty soon. But we'll have all of Saturday and all of Sunday. We might go downhill skiing at some point, but there'll be a lot of time for writing. So I'm in a really tough section right now, which is why I only did half an hour before. I was just getting tired and just getting frustrated because I realize I have a bit of a timeline issue. So I added an extra day in the first draft that now in my revision I have to take away. So that kind of messes up some of the events that are coming in the next chapter or two. So I really need to figure out what I'm going to do with that. So yeah, we'll have to brainstorm that and then see if we can make it work. Or else I don't really know how to bridge the gap between this and the next section. It is Saturday morning and I just woke up and we're gonna start with some writing. I usually feel like on the weekends I would ease into it a bit more, but I just really want to get into it because I really don't know what today's gonna look like. I think we've got a few things on the docket. We'll want to go to the gym at some point. We have to make some food to bring to a friend's tonight because we're gonna do a board game night. And I know that inevitably at some point I'm going to get pulled into playing Stardew Valley. It's a video game that Jonah and I are playing like together, like on our separate computers, like a co-op that we played in the past, and I just got back into it last week. And I know that once I start playing, it's going to be really hard to stop. So I figured I would get some work done today before any of that starts to interfere. But even though I would really love to jump right back into my manuscript and just keep writing, I think that I should take a step back because I mentioned this timeline issue. So basically this is like a late stage in the competition and there's this issue with weather and how many days they're stuck for. I have an extra day in there that I'm removing, but it screws up the timeline because something is happening at a certain point, and now can I move it to the same point the day before or find a new place for it? I'm not really sure. I've already gotten basically to when the new day would start, and then I was like, oh, I forgot that this happened and I didn't want this. So that means that I'm probably gonna have to make edits to the previous chapters that I just went through that I just felt really good about, which is unfortunate. So the plan is going to be to use my journal, this guy, and I'm first going to write out all the major plot points of everything that needs to happen, and then I'm going to arrange them in the shorter days and try and see how I can fit them in the times of days. And that may also influence the main character's motivations, because as things are occurring, right, like she's reacting to them, it's changing her mindset. So we'll have to see if anything like that changes. So that's the unfortunate bit, is like making sure that she's still where she needs to be at the end. Yeah, I'm a little overwhelmed thinking about it, to be honest. So it's good that I'm not just steaming ahead into the next chapter, because I really do want this second draft, this first round of revision, to be a really solid revision. And by the end, I really want to feel like I tackled all the major issues. Progress is still progress, even though it's not happening in the draft. I have written a lot of words. I've filled up this 2 pages. There's not actually that many words. I just don't want you to see the points and spoil the story. But essentially, I was planning on just putting out bullet points, but instead, I've organized everything into 3 major plot progressions, basically. I don't know if I'd call them subplots because they're all major things that are happening to the main character and they like interweave, but it's like there's 3 trains of logic going on. And so I went through the last 5 chapters and took everything from that as well as what's to come. I think what was happening before was I had 2 of these major plot threads weaving together, and then because there was so much going on, I left the 3rd one to the end, to that final day that I just added, and did everything there rather than weaving all 3 together. Because there's a lot going on, like a lot. Like, I feel like in every chapter, there's going to be so much going on because it's like there's the major theme of a chapter, the major like events, but in the background, I need to subtly hint and set up other things. And if it's overwhelming to me, I'm worried it's going to be overwhelming to the reader. So as long as they can follow along, I do like the idea of the reader feeling like a little bit, not confused. I don't want them to be confused, but just overwhelmed of just everything that's going on so that they lose track of details. So when things happen, they're like, oh yeah, right, I forgot about that. Or, oh wow, like that's finally connecting to there. And they're not, like if there's less going on, they might be able to put those pieces together a lot more easily versus now until I bring it back in, you know, like there's a major plot twist that happens. And I don't know, maybe plot twist is the wrong word, a major plot reveal that should affect the main character, but the main character is at a point where she's just like ignoring it. She's like, that's not true, you're lying, whatever. And then we move on and we literally don't touch on it for a long time. But if there wasn't a lot going on, I feel like that's something that a person would like think about. It would gnaw at them. But because there's so much else going on, they aren't actually able to think about it and actually come to the realization that, oh yeah, this does fit with everything I've previously known. As well is I'm hoping, because the main character at this point has a very one-track mind. Like there's one thing that she needs to do, she's going to try and do it. And I'm hoping that I can get, what is it called? It's some sort of suspense. Vicarious suspense? I don't know. It's the suspense where the reader knows more than the main character. And that's often done by using like jumps to like the villain or other people. So getting out of the point of view of the main character. But my story is fully the main character's point of view. But I feel like I can do that by having other people talk about things around her. And she's like able to listen in and be part of it. But she's so focused on other things that she's not paying attention. So the reader will pick up on it and go like, ooh, girl, you should have been paying attention. But she's just not. I hope that wasn't too confusing, that whole explanation. So I have a lot to do. I think I'm going to go back to the start of the sequence, chapter, I think 23, and we're going to go from there, and I'm going to have my notebook beside me just to make sure. I don't think there's going to be that many changes, to be honest. I think we're kind of in the clear where that 3rd major plot thread, I think I need to hint a few things earlier, but the like repercussions blowout of that thread can happen kind of right at the end of that final day. Yeah. So it shouldn't be that bad, but I just need to make sure that I'm adding in little things. And so I don't think it'll be a big overhaul. Hopefully I can finish just by the end of the weekend to where I'm at currently in the draft and just like everything before it. So that way next week or even this weekend, I could start on finally progressing forward. Because I feel like going back and like doing this kind of stuff is often, if it takes too long, I get bogged down and I get confused. Because the longer I take, things aren't as fresh in my mind. I'm getting a little bit tired and I'm nearing the end of my tea, so I think I might call it for writing this morning. But I think for a first jab at it, it went pretty good. I typically move pretty chronologically through an edit. It's just easier to keep track in my brain, but I found myself really like going back and forth through all these chapters, trying to insert different things, testing it out into one spot and seeing like, can I really add this here? Does it ruin the flow of what's already there? Does it make sense for the character? Will it mess around too much with her internal journey? And I think I've got some good things so far. But what I did realize is I really wanted a specific order for one of these plot threads, and it's getting a little bit mixed up in a way that I think still works. But I think if it was in the order that I wanted it to be, there'd be more of a impact. But I think I'm just gonna have to sacrifice that, because if I move it, it causes ripple effect and will ruin a lot of other things that are set up. So I think I can be okay with not having it in slightly a different order, just to make things a little easier for myself. And also, it's like not even that big of a deal. So we're just gonna move past that. I've done quite a few of these little insertions, but yeah, we're gonna take a break. I feel like I need to like move my body or like do something outside of my brain. It is now Sunday morning. I really nailed it yesterday when I was like, as soon as I start doing all this other stuff, we're never getting back to writing, because that did indeed happen. We played Stardew, we went to the gym, and then we went to our friend's place, and then before I knew it, it was like really, really late when we got home. So in fact, today we were supposed to go downhill skiing, but I think we're just both so tired from all of the activities we've been doing the last few days that we've decided to just do a stay-at-home day, which means I should get a bunch of writing done, potentially. We'll see. I really just want to try and get the end of this timeline fixed, so that way I can start moving forward and writing the next chapters in the week. So that will probably be our goal for today. I'm just outside right now. It's a little cold, but it's just so beautiful. I really just feel like spring is coming, because we're just getting so much light. It's warming up. The timeline issues are continuing, because as I go deeper into meshing all of these things together, more issues are popping up. The big one right now that I'm gonna have to get creative about is that basically the next chapter I was gonna write before I went back and did all these changes, its tension relies on the main character not knowing a piece of information that I'm now giving to them before that chapter, which means that this chapter that we're going to be going into when I'm done all these timeline stuff now has like doesn't have that same conflict at its root that it kind of relied on. So we're going to have to do some thinking about how to fix it. I'm thinking of adding another element, but I just don't know if things are going to be too convoluted, because even though there's a lot going on, I really don't like any like plot line to get too convoluted, too complicated. I want it to always be pretty straightforward, or else it'll be maybe too hard to follow, or like will start being less realistic or believable. So yeah. The day slipped away from me. Unfortunately, it is well past 8 o'clock, and I haven't gotten back to it since I was trying to come up with a way to make the timeline work this morning. And it's partly because I was really struggling to come up with how to fix it, especially without adding so many other elements to the story that there's a lot going on. But also because like we were really tired and I really just needed a day, I think, to do absolutely nothing. So for a weekend writing vlog, there hasn't really been that much actual writing going on. I think setting the goal for myself of trying to get to the end of all these timeline stuff by the end of tonight, I guess, was maybe a little ambitious, but as well, like I think I could have done it, but because I set that goal for myself and it was like, and it intimidated me. It made me not even want to start. So we're gonna scrap that goal. We're gonna have no expectation, and I'm just gonna spend an hour this evening just trying to work on whatever bits and pieces I can, whatever I feel good about. Even though I do feel pretty good about some of the things I've put in, it's just really hard to see what's actually there just because it feels like I'm really Frankensteining these things together. So like the focus is one thing and then it switches to another when I add something else in, and I just don't know how smooth these chapters are right now, which then makes me want to just go back to the beginning and read through everything. But then I'm like, no, I should put in all of the new changes first and then see it. And I think the longer I think about it, the more I'm psyching myself out. So I think I just gotta do it, try it, and work on it in the manuscript and not try and like think my way through it without actually opening my laptop. So, guess who put on their headphones, listened to some good ambient music, and crushed the timeline? I'm not even joking. It took me, I think, like 50 minutes. And now I'm feeling so good about the changes I've made. I think I'm actually done. I ended up actually, this last chapter, cutting it a little bit earlier because I added more to it and it was bigger. And I was able to end it on this really fun cliffhanger. It's putting my main character in a really tough position that a part of me is like, can I reasonably get her out of this, but like not get her out of it scot-free, but enough to like continue the plot without seeming cheap. And I think I can do it in the next chapter. But I'm on a high. That cliffhanger, I love it. I love it. I honestly, it like naturally I was like, why am I taking my foot off the gas pedal? We're in act 2 part 2. We need to be applying that thing straight to act 3. Yeah, I went back through the stuff I added yesterday because I did quite a bit yesterday morning, and I smoothed things out that was maybe put in a bit rougher. And so for now, I think it's okay. Like, I think I'm going to need more perspective that I'll get when doing a full reread of the second draft, which I'll want to do before the next round of revision. But holy cow, it's crazy. I made what I want to do for the revision today into this huge mountainous obstacle. I literally finished it in 50 minutes. In 50 minutes. Yeah, I'm gonna have to try and calm down so I can go to bed soon. But I'm really stoked. Really stoked. And it goes to show I can get a lot done even if I'm not working all weekend. I'm sure it'll get tough because in the next chapter, the fresh new one, we're really gonna start merging stuff more. And so we'll see how that goes. But, I think I've set myself up really well. I'm going to have to figure out which chapters I want to delete from the first draft that now no longer apply in the second. But dang, we did it. I think this was honestly, even though hours-wise, maybe it's not as long as I would have wanted for a writing weekend, I'm very happy with how much I got done. I feel like the quality, at the end of the day, the quality was there. So, thanks for joining me on this weekend. I hope you got something out of it. And yeah, I'm so excited to get to the next chapter and deal with this cliffhanger. It's gonna be a good time.